We, the people of Detroit, is dedicated to community coalition building and to the provision of resources that inform, train, and mobilize the citizens of Detroit and beyond to improve their quality of life. As a community-based grassroots organization, we, the people of Detroit, aim to inform, educate, and empower Detroit residents on imperative issues surrounding civil rights, land, water, education, and the democratic process. For more information, call 844-42-WATER, 844-42-WATER, or email wethepeopleofdetroit.com.
Wake up, Detroit. I'm Joanne Watson, and this is your wake-up call.
When a brown girl child is born, the earth shifts. The sun is at half-mast. The moon waits for her first cry. The ancestors set the table. The flowers turn red as blood. This is your land, continent daughter, with tree trunk legs and branches for arms. This is your soil, black and fertile as your eyes facing an apartheid Jim Crow current past memory. Some of us begin the removal of shackles at birth. We grow into the armor of struggle quickly. We brew courage in our tea, blend bravery into our Sunday dinners. Joanne Watson, you understand nation building is not a part-time job. This dedicated life is sometimes lonely, a vulnerable choice, but it is the only way you know how to operate. You are wired for the movement in your black women bones, even when tired, still fighting, still organizing, still singing morning spirituals. You were born to lead, even in your own family, the eldest of 10 children born to Jefferson and Lestine. You made Damon, Nefertari, Stephen, Maya. Her children always knew she was larger than life. When you are a woman in the movement, you take the children with you on the journey. You bring the babies with you to your college classes. When you travel to Ghana for the first time, it will be with your daughters in tow. When you are a fearless, nationalist thinking mama, mothering never stops with your own babies. 30 godchildren and mentees across the globe. The daughter of a ministering mother is already ordained for good trouble. A seer, a prophetic young student preparing for her lifelong role as servant to her own community. When your purse was snatched in a Farmer Jack parking lot many years ago with your kids' tickets to Run DMC in the purse, you made sure they still got to that concert and even hosted Melly Mel and the Furious Five in your living room, because queens make it look easy. When you're a single mom, people will tell you what you can't do. Instead, you move to New York City with all 4 of your C's to do your necessary work with the YWCA, because queens make it look easy. Ghana, Togo, South Africa, where is your heart, Mama Watson? Nurturing spirit, baking melt in your mouth, homemade biscuits. How many hours do you sleep, Warrior Watson, with endless work ethic and blue-collar blood racing through your veins? How do we say thank you for your work, your time, your heart? We know you will never really retire. There is a fire on the path to freedom. There is smoke, there is sacrifice, there are stories of justice, of women, of Tubman, Sojourner, of Angela, Asada, Coretta, and Merle, and Betty, and Queen Mother Moore. Some of us know we are ancient, that our marrow is laced with legacy, that we are here to bring light to our daughters. Sometimes it just takes one woman, a mother, a grandmother, a Spitfire, griot, a sister, the only woman to lead the NAACP's largest chapter. She, daughter of the movement, of Rosa, of Irma. She was a birth that gave birth to possibility for other young activists like me, a true D woman, frontline Fatima, Nigerian blood, councilwoman, leader, truth teller, Joanne Watson, social worker, president of the Anti-Klan Network, sister, inspiration, dedicated to the protection of girls and the voices of women wrapped in West African beauty, regal and resilient. Wake up, Detroit. Wake up, South Africa. Wake up, Cuba. Wake up, small business owners. Wake up, White House. Wake up, reparations. Wake up, teachers. Wake up, women. Wake up, schools. Sleeping is not an option when the Honorable Joanne Watson is in the room.
It's your wake-up call. We want to bless all of our city, all of our residents, and thank God The Lord has allowed us to see another day. This is the day the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. We're rejoicing right now. Monica Lewis Patrick is in the house. Monica Lewis Patrick, President, CEO, We the People of Detroit, and a sponsor of We Wake Up Detroit, and a wonderful, wonderful co-host. She's whenever she comes in the building, she's a co-host of Wake Up Detroit. She's a co-anchor, and she's a wonderful, gifted, a conscious woman who is on the right side of every issue facing our community. And I wanted to tell somebody who really doesn't know the story of We the People of Detroit. Tell that great story.
Yes, ma'am. Well, good morning to all of our guests and to you, Queen Mother. It's just always an honor to be with you. But for us at We the People of Detroit, it really begins with you. That much of the work that we have seeded at We the People of Detroit stands on the shoulders of you and the Honorable Marianne Mahaffey and our great Queen Mother, Mother Irma L. Henderson, but all of those women, all of those water warrior women that really stood in the brink and were willing to do that deep work of taking a global concept, an international concept, and ensuring that everyone is on a path to clean, safe, affordable water. I just met with the law students from the University of Michigan last week because they're helping us form legislation at the state level, and also have been a part of our team to do research that has actually provided an economic feasibility study to the state of Michigan that there is a pathway for clean, safe, and affordable water.
That's right.
But I had to tell the story that it didn't begin with We the People of Detroit. But it began with those legendary leaders in Detroit that were the architects of the first legislation in the nation that says that there must be a pathway for clean, safe, and affordable water. So I have to give that sort of clarifying context to how we got here. But it was us showing up and being a part of our community and loving our children. And loving humanity. And it was through the lens of the black matriarch that you and Queen Mother, Mama Neb, and then also Professor Gwen Winston began to speak into our souls that we couldn't wait on anybody to come rescue us.
Lord.
That we had to deputize ourselves.
Come on now.
And it lit a fire. I remember you turning your back to Deborah and Cecily and myself as we were whining and crying about all the austerity that had played out in Michigan and specifically Detroit. We were seeing pensions lost and housing foreclosed on illegally and unconstitutionally. We were seeing 8,000 homes shut off per month by our own water department that we were paying. And then we were hearing a narrative, a master narrative of failed black leadership when we knew something totally different. That we knew that we were subsidizing 40% of the entire state of Michigan to get water.
That's right.
That we knew we had a burden on our back of paying an 83-17 split for the combined sewage overflow.
My Lord.
That we had been under the oppression of a racist judge for over 35 years who used his power illegally to impose contracts, to impose his racist will, and to actually divest from a system that was providing a life-sustaining resource.
That's exactly
So we had to tell the story.
Come on now.
We had to tell the story, and what you told us to do is we better roll up our sleeves, and you better go to work.
And
we went to work.
My.
We went to work at We the People of Detroit. Before there was even an institution or an identity as We the People of Detroit, the 5 founders of We the People of Detroit were showing up fighting against mayoral control.
Yes.
We were fighting against losing the investment in public education.
That's right.
We were standing up against what we knew was a raiding of the pension fund.
My Lord.
But the 5 of us coming together, showing up through self-determination, through cooperative work, through leaning into our elders, understanding that we have power and agency.
That's it.
There was birth, We the People of Detroit.
Woo!
Yes, ma'am. So we just
and you
God.
started with a vision and a commitment and a heart full of love for your people.
Yes, ma'am.
It wasn't about doing something for your own resume.
No, ma'am.
It was about the people.
Yes, ma'am.
We the people.
Yes, ma'am.
And nobody was paying you.
No, ma'am.
You did it out of love.
No, ma'am.
You did it out of
pocketbook.
You did it out of your own pockets.
Yes, ma'am.
You subsidized what you believed in. You worked and worked some more.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
You went without sleep. had nobody to pay your rent or to pay your utilities or buy gas for your car, but you just did it anyhow for the people.
Yes, ma'am.
for the people.
Well, you know, because a couple of times you paid my rent. So I'm just going to tell the truth and shame the devil. That's how we kept holding on. We had a community that believed in us. We had elders that entrusted us to run the next leg of the race.
And you did it.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
and while doing it, you organized.
Yes.
You organized others, and you wrote books, and you kept data. You went door to door, knocking on doors to get the story from the people themselves. So you weren't doing it for the people, you're doing it with the people.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the only way to organize with people.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you told us. I just laugh about it because my mentees will tell you that we do a Joy and Watson story often. And so one of the things I tell them is that the reward for good work is more work.
That's it.
And so each time we would come and complain, we get an assignment. When we complained to Mama Neb that research and data wasn't being presented and formulated, that really was revealing the evidence that we knew was there around public health impacts, around the psychosocial impacts of just the fear of not having water. And Mama Neb told us, she said, all of you have been to the academy.
My.
All of you are educated. You have degrees. So you organize yourself.
My Lord.
And you begin to do research.
That's it.
And you do data.
That's it.
And then you state what the case is. And we said, what?
And now people come to you for the research.
Praise God. Praise God.
Academic institutions come to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Federal, international institutions come to you because you've done the work.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're still doing it.
But we even in those meetings have to say, hold on, wait a minute, let us call our mamas. We are not the originators of this. There are architects to this. There are people that actually stood in the gap, and we stand on their shoulders. And so we've been so proud of those moments when we've been able to educate the White House CEQ and bring you in to make sure that they understood that this is one of the architects, along with the late, great Marion Mahaffey and those water warriors. It's been those moments when we've been able to point to the EPA and say, wait a minute, there is policy.
Come on now.
There is a pathway.
Come on now.
And so it's been through legacy and through the sharing of that legacy and those stories. And so we tell our babies, you know, as you tell this story, don't you start with We the People of Detroit. You turn that page back and you remind folks that this is where the legacy begins, and we are a continuation of that.
And honoring legacies is really, I owe everything to those who came before me.
Yes, ma'am.
And I give them, in fact, that sometimes I got talked about for giving the history of Coleman Young and
Thank God.
Irma Henderson
Thank God.
regularly at the council table. I couldn't help it.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it was in me.
Yes, ma'am. We miss that.
We
miss it. We miss it so bad.
My.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
My.
Yes, ma'am.
We owe. We're not here for ourselves.
That's right.
And because we have been blessed by having some grand leaders come before us,
Yes.
who laid a path of leadership and giving back and the momentum and what it takes to represent.
That's right.
We must serve.
Yes. We owe.
We owe.
We owe. I know I owe. I know that there are not only you and so many elders that have contributed and sown into us. Often we were just talking about before we came on air, my sweet mama. My grandmothers, both of them, one was closer to a speakeasy and a liquor house, but she'd hold court just the same and have political talks and spiritual talks in those settings. And then my other grandmother was a church woman.
Hey.
And so everything centered around going to church
You
and
better
getting
say
from
it.
church
You
or
better
trying to
say
get
it.
somebody else to church.
Yes.
But what I loved about all of those women is they operated in their agency.
That's it.
Unafraid, unapologetic.
That's right.
Love God, love their community, love their family.
That's right.
And that's what they taught us, is that it's not only the family that lives in our house, it's the family of our community.
That's right.
And so I just thank God for your leadership. I thank God for you continuing to water our plant, making sure that we, the people of Detroit, is being guided the right way, that we're making good decisions. We always try to check in with our mamas.
You do.
To
You
make
do.
sure we're doing the right thing the right way.
Yes.
Because sometimes it's not even about the good work you're doing, but it's the intentions behind the work
That's
you're doing.
right.
And so those are some of the lessons that I've learned from you, to continue to check in, to continue to understand that there is power not only within me, but outside of me.
I'm so proud of you recognizing the power that's in your hands. Because I have never heard of a community organization like We the People of Detroit that has actually taken on the responsibility, the accountability of negotiating with the water department to make them do right. And the people have talked about the water department.
Yes, ma'am.
They've been wringing their hands about water and fussing. But to actually go in and steer a narrative that says you sit at the table with equal opportunities to talk and help shape policy
Yes.
for our people,
Yes.
and to demand respect
Mm.
and recognition for who you represent. Because so you, in a very real way, organizations like We the People of Detroit are representing the people of Detroit more than elected officials right now.
Oh, wow.
I'm calling it as I see it.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I deeply respect that. We see ourselves as
There's
public
nobody
servants.
in any other position who is sitting down with a major utility that we're supposed to own,
Right.
the water department, telling them that you need to make sure the water is not shut off
That's right. That's
for
right.
our people.
That's right.
We have senior citizens. We have families with children. We have people on medication. And people need, and everybody must have water. It's a
Yes.
human right.
Yes.
Can't survive for more than 3 days without water. And you have taken that homage, and We the People of Detroit has done it at layers. It's you, it's Cecily, it's your researchers, your theorists, University of Michigan,
Yes, ma'am.
Peter Hammer at Wayne State University. You got layers of people sitting around the table,
Yes.
letting them know that they're with the people.
Yes. Well, once again, going back to your playbook, that part of being a stateswoman is understanding that I'm a public servant.
My Lord.
I'm a public servant. I'm not an elected official, but I'm a public servant.
Come on, somebody.
And so in being a public servant, I have to always center community. What's going to be best for my community? What gives my community the greatest economic and political advantage to be able to get the services they deserve? And so one of the things that Mama Gwen Winston told me in 2018, she said, Monica, you got to stop spending so much time talking to activists and other people that already believe in what you're talking about. You got to talk to people that don't believe in
My
what
Lord.
you're saying, that are totally opposed
That's right.
to ensuring that people have access to water. And so through those conversations and relationships, much of what was built in terms of our credibility, not only in terms of our community at the grass roots, but it was about us going outside the bubble of Detroit and Michigan.
That's right.
So as we built relationships nationally and internationally, as we were able to put together about 67 researchers and experts from across the country.
Say that.
As we were able to center our community in citizen science.
Talk about it.
So it wasn't researchers telling us, it was our community telling us what we needed researchers to demonstrate.
And now you have the White House calling you.
Yes, ma'am.
The White House.
Yes, ma'am.
You have United Nations dealing with you, organizing with you, putting together movements with you.
Yes, ma'am.
The National Organization of Nurses are working with you because water is a health issue.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And so what we know is by those relationships and building a deeper understanding, because even with your policymakers, sometimes they're so removed from the issue that they need that ground front line context.
Yes.
And so that's what we've tried to bring. Continue to bring our community voices. We've invested in the Michigan Water Table.
Come on now.
Bringing more leaders from Detroit
Yes.
to that table.
Yes.
So that it's not just we, the people of Detroit, saying what's so. It's our community saying
Come
what's
on now.
so. And then what we found ourselves in this moment of really pushing us outside of our comfort zone.
Yes.
We are meeting with farmers. We're meeting with white mothers in more conservative and rural communities.
Yes.
But what we know is
Because
we
they have
one-
water issues too.
They have water issues.
Yeah, they do.
And when you said to us, deputize yourself.
Come on now.
And then I began to stretch myself to have these conversations.
Yes.
What I realized is there was a common element.
Come on now.
And so we stepped into that common element. So when I talk to mothers that are in Oscoda, Michigan,
Come on now.
and their babies are being born with birth defects from exposure to toxins like PFAS,
Yes.
we had a commonality.
My
Because
Lord.
I'm concerned about my babies.
That's right.
And them not having either clean water or any water.
That's hey.
And so when I would share that story and that mother would share her story, a connection would happen.
Go ahead.
And so since that time, I've gone to Oscoda. Those people have come to us. We've paid for them to come to national and regional conferences to connect our stories.
Yeah.
The same has happened with farmers. Mama Gwen told me to go out in this far part of Howell, Michigan. I get out in the woods. Everybody back there, nobody looks like me. It's a room full of white men, and they're all farmers.
My.
And so I get in the room, and I hear one of them whisper to the other one, "Who brought the black girl?"
My
And
Lord.
I said, "Oh, this is going to be interesting."
Oh my.
And of course, my cell phone wasn't working as the further I went out.
Mercy.
And so we get in the meeting and we start talking, and the gentleman that had invited me, introduced me and had me start talking. Well, what I had learned from you is you never start with your problem in
That's
these
right.
kinds of conversations. You start with their problems,
That's
their
it.
issues. And what I had done, I had researched and found that the runoff from farms actually had increased the cost to farmers by over 258%.
Wow.
That their cost had gone up since 2008 for the chemicals that they need to protect themselves from getting penalties and
Yes,
fines and
yes.
permit violations. And so when I started with that conversation, one of the gentlemen said, yeah, that's why everything's so high. I can't afford that.
Wow.
And I said, yes, sir, and you have a water affordability issue.
Go ahead.
And we had a great
We're
conversation.
connected.
We're connected.
My,
and so
my.
just thank God for those teachings. Thank God for us learning to listen,
Yes.
to be obedient. And then in our obedience, we've been able to position ourselves at tables that make decisions.
My.
And so even with Mr. Brown, what we often have been able to do just recently, we were telling our team, we're coming up on a year for this Detroit
Wow.
Lifeline. This started in May of last year. But we've been able to advance and improve the number of people in the household from 3 to 4. We've been able to get Mr. Brown to agree in the water department that they must start at a rate that's affordable.
That's right.
So he's taken the talking points of the activists, and he started at 1.8%
Yes.
of a person.
Wake up, Detroit. I'm Joanne Watson, and we're so blessed on this day, this wonderful day, to have two fighting warrior sisters in the house. Woo! Such a blessing to have two of our sisters. Now, when you say sister in Detroit, you don't just mean a woman. A sister signifies that they're active in the movement. And we want to first welcome Shoshana Shakur.
Thank you, my queen, Sister Reverend Watson. I am so happy to be here. This is my mentor, y'all, my big sister.
Her brother was my mentor, and both of us were mentored by Dr. Mari Obedelli and Gaidi Obedelli,
Yeah.
whose legacy we shall never forget.
Ashe,
Never forget.
Ashe.
Never forget. And now we're glad they spent some time in Detroit.
Okay,
And of course, Chokwe was from Detroit.
that's
Come on,
right.
That's his favorite
Chokwe
sister, y'all.
Lumumba, Ashe.
There's a street with his name on it downtown on Warren Avenue.
Thanks to former city council member Reverend Watson, who helped us when they tried to block
Come on, somebody.
Chokwe Street. They tried to block it, and we had to go to you. And they also had the nerve, I remember, they took Aretha Franklin's father's street down.
Sure
and
did.
Aretha, the queen of soul, had to go to our queen of reparations and the movement here, Joanne Watson, to get that street sign back up. And she did.
Thank you so much. Aretha Franklin called me and she said, they done took my daddy's sign down. I said, they did? Uh-huh. You know, I go riding through Linwood. And they done took my daddy's sign down again. So I need you to get it back up again. I said, well, Aretha, I'm not on city council anymore. I don't have that kind of power. You can do it. You can do it.
Well, she was
So
right.
she was right. I called DPW, and they said, well, it ain't going to be for free, Miss Watson. I said, well, just charge it to me. I'm not charging Aretha for her own daddy's sign. And they got that Reverend Dr. C.O. Franklin
That's
sign
right.
back up. And Aretha, when they put the Aretha Franklin sign in front of 36th District Court downtown, they forgot to tell her where exactly what intersection it was going to be at. And
Oh,
she
no.
said, she called me, where's my sign supposed to be? I said, I think it's going to be downtown somewhere, but they don't tell me where, and I don't know where to stand. And what are they going to name the sign? I said, I guess Aretha Franklin Boulevard, like your daddy's sign. I wanted Aretha Franklin Way, like ain't no way.
Okay.
I said, Aretha, I don't have that kind of power anymore. I'm not on city council. She said the same line, you can do it. You can do it. So I had to make many calls to find out it was going to be right in front of Music Hall in 36th District
Right.
Court. And it was Aretha Franklin Way. They were going to put Aretha Franklin Boulevard, but they followed her dictum,
Oh, that's
Aretha
beautiful.
Franklin Way.
Awesome.
Introduce my sister.
Oh my God, this is my warrior sister, Tahira Ahmed. I'm telling you, Tahira needs her own show, Queen Mother.
She does.
This
She's
sister
got
is-
fire. She's got force. She
Right.
stays on the city council. She calls. She visits. She talks.
Right.
And she follows up.
Right.
She
right.
follows up. She
She's
holds people accountable.
She's a member of the Black Legacy Coalition.
Yes, she is.
And she's
She's our press person.
That's right. And working on political prisoners that she helped to free our brother Mutulu Shakua.
That's right. Woo! And you led that campaign.
Yeah. And she's now working, we're both working to free Mumia Abu Jamal.
So let's talk about Mumia Abu Jamal and the need to free him.
Okay.
He must be free. He must be free.
Mumia Abu Jamal, our Black Panther, Black
Come on
Power brother, who has now been in prison, 41 years?
41 years.
My Lord.
Plus.
My Lord.
41.
Not because, well, he's accused of killing Officer Faulkner,
Right.
but that's not why he's in prison. He's in prison because he's fighting for black liberation and black people and our black causes.
Political persecution.
He is a political prisoner.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's why he's in prison.
Right.
A journalist,
A
a freedom
journalist.
fighter.
Right.
Freedom fighter.
He was a journalist, and his voice, oh my God, when you hear Mumia's voice, he just has one of those beautiful commentary voices and is soothing. And he was just driving a cab, observing
his,
what they were doing to persecute members of MOVE at the time, and he was writing about that. And this is how they end up attacking Brother Mumia and falsely charging him for killing a white police officer, where he did not kill the white police officer. He himself got shot in that incident, and I think
beat up.
Yeah, tell what happened when his brother was in in the neighborhood then.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
brother, Mumia got shot, as you said.
Mhm.
And he was going to help his brother.
Right.
His brother was being accosted by the police,
Mhm.
and he saw it from across the street,
Mm-hmm.
and he ran toward the incident, and that's how he got mixed up in it.
Right.
He was shot. They beat him against a pole. His head, beat his head against the. That's police brutality. He
And-
was accused.
And they put him on death row. This is what they did when they convicted him. Even though witnesses recanted statements way back in the original trial, they put him on death row. Our brother has been incarcerated for 41 years, and of that 41 years, 28 years he was on death row.
Lord have mercy.
So he's
Free
all
Mumia.
free Mumia.
Free Mumia.
Now, free him
Free
now.
Mumia.
He's been there for too long. He should have never been in there.
Where Mumia is now, and we're right there with him. Unfortunately, we're not suffering in the prison with him, but we're right there because our souls are hurting. Our spirit is
Our
hurting.
community is with him.
Right. So Mumia, several years ago, the prosecutor on the case discovered boxes of evidence in the basement of the office, the prosecutor's office, that had never been presented at trial. And Queen Mother Watson, you're not going to believe this. You are not going to believe this. And one of those boxes of evidence contained a letter from a witness saying, "Where's my money? Where's my money? You all promised to pay me. Where's my money?"
Wow.
So Mumia's attorneys and legal, representatives did the proper thing and filed for a new trial, a hearing on this matter. It went before. Unfortunately, I hate to say this. It was a black sister.
Yeah,
a
Clemens.
black sister,
Lucretia-
Judge
Lucretia
Lucretia
Clemens.
Clemens, who has the power to grant Mumia a hearing and also to just release him.
Yeah.
Release him. So she had him waiting, and back in December, she says, "Well, I'm going to give both sides a time to adequately assess the evidence that was found or the alleged evidence, according to her, that was found." So that was December the 16th. So just last week, on the day, I believe, that Trump was indicted, Here she comes with her decision. No, she will not release Mumia, and she.
See, that's why you need litigation, legislation, and activation.
Okay.
You need a
Okay.
combination. Whenever there has been a success for our people, which are few and far between, there's always been a combination of the three. We can never just depend on court. We have to also depend on community action, activists.
Yes.
You cannot be afraid to take to the streets. Folks that don't want to take to the streets, they don't even understand. You cannot just depend on court cases, and you cannot just depend on legislation. That's why we just cannot depend on H.R. 40 being passed for reparations.
That's
So
happening.
people got to get into the street.
Well, all over the world, even in South Africa, they're calling for Mumia's release.
Around the world.
All over the world. Not enough.
He should never have been put in jail.
Yes,
He was a journalist doing his job and trying to stand up for his brother, driving a taxi cab. But he was a professional journalist.
He could have died in that police brutality.
Sure, he could have.
He could have died from hepatitis C. He had
Right.
caught hepatitis C and passed out. He was within an inch of his life. And the prisons refused to give him hepatitis C
Treatment.
treatment.
But see,
And they
we
called
don't
it
have
a
any.
cure.
We
And
don't
then
have any
what
rights they feel
happened
bound
was
to uphold.
His lawyer fought the prison system to get him the cure for hepatitis C and won. Not only did they win for Mumia, he got the hepatitis C cure, but they won for prisoners all over the country. So Mumia is fighting for us from prison
And he's still an activist.
and winning.
What would you urge our people to do to support Free Mumia? What should they do today?
They should do the challenge. We've got a challenge.
Right. Go ahead. Tell 'em the video
We
and.
have a video. We're asking people to do a short 30 to 60-second video calling for the freedom of Mumia. It is hashtag Free Mumia and hashtag the Mumia Challenge.
Yes, and they can also go on social media, on any of the social media, Facebook,
Twitter.
Twitter, and they can put in at Detroit Jericho, so you can find out all about what's happening with Mumia, about the challenge that Sister Tahira just mentioned. And Sister Tahira came up with a brilliant idea, very kuumba, that I just love, and I want to challenge the listeners today to join in this challenge with the video.
Yes.
So
this
tell them
is
about the video.
Well, I thought of the idea of like the we are the world type video where everybody's singing together. We are the world. But I thought about having everyone do a short video saying how you feel about Mumia, how he deserves to be free, and we'll string it along on Facebook. So we've got a lot of people who
Right.
have joined in on the challenge. It's called the challenge.
Right.
And we do our short video,
Free Mumia.
and it goes back to back, and it is being shown now on Free Jericho. Is it at Detroit Jericho?
but also on Facebook. If you go
Good.
to Detroit Jericho on Facebook, you can see all the videos.
And
Right.
Jericho is spelled Jericho.
Oh, right. At Detroit
At
Jericho.
Detroit Jericho.
Right. And if I can say a little bit more about the judge, because I'm going to tell you why I'm so livid. Because the judge has a video that I also invite people to go see. Some type of, I don't know, promotional video for what, I don't know, but she's a beautiful, in appearance, black woman, and we all are beautiful black women, but you look at the sister and you say, oh, she looks somewhat angelic, and she's on there talking about her faith as a Christian and as a Catholic. And she talks about how she's compassionate and, you know, she believes in justice and all of this on this video. Don't take my word for it. Go watch it. Judge Lucretia Clemens, Clemons. and it's on YouTube. So in response to the video, I wrote a letter as a black Christian Catholic woman.
Come on now.
And I said to the judge in my letter, I said, Judge, you're in a dilemma. You're in a very difficult situation. And then I, did repeated Mumia's history. This man has been there for 41 years. Someone is saying that he did not do it. They paid him to testify. Bring the evidence. And then I said, Judge, you have to ask yourself, what would Jesus do? Mm-hmm. What would Jesus do? And that I took it personal, not just that I love Mumia, but I'm like, here you are, you don't have the right to talk about Christianity. You don't have that right, because if there is something out there that would exonerate this man who's been unjustly imprisoned, and caged for 41 years, a Christian would let the evidence be heard. Now,
now, I didn't even know what her letter said. My letter said, now, you a Catholic. Now, isn't there a prayer in the Catholic Church that says, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you.
Right,
blessed
all
art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Right. Okay.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. I said, did you hear that? Holy Mary, Mother of God. I said, so that made Mary more powerful than God.
Right.
I said, you have the power, female of the Catholic Church. Help Mumia. Free him. You got more power than Jesus. Let's do it.
And I just want to add, and that's beautiful. I didn't know you wrote that letter.
I wrote it.
But these are the reasons for the judge's decision. So, of course, I'm not an attorney. UD made sure of that. But anyway, she had two reasons as to why she rejected a new trial. One was it was time barred. The claim was time barred. It should have came at another time. It was too late. You're out of time. But you don't control when the prosecutor finds the evidence, right? And the second one is it lacks merit, and looking at everything that the defense put in front of her to make the decision on, the evidence still would not vindicate Mumia. So she doesn't see any point in it.
Well, the vindication comes from Jesus. This is Holy Week.
Okay. All right.
Palm Sunday was Sunday.
Okay. All right.
We practice Lent in order to free ourselves from those things that should not be a part of us, that are negative and hostile. And today is Maundy Thursday.
Okay.
This is the day that Jesus first initiated the Last Supper, the Holy Communion, the Eucharist.
Okay.
It was begun on Thursday, Maundy Thursday. And Jesus also showed his humility, his servant leadership role by washing the feet of the disciples. That was today.
Oh, wow.
And then Good Friday is tomorrow.
Right.
And the 7 last words of Christ were spoken on Good Friday. When you consider that Jesus, among the 7 last words, are, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It is important for us to recognize that the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, who is the essence and the foundation of Christianity, sets the stage for forgiveness, period. So forgiveness does not have to be pronounced in writing based on some documents that somebody found according to some court timetable. Forgiveness is accessible to everybody, particularly somebody who didn't do it.
All right, now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Somebody who didn't do it.
All right.
And being persecuted
Come on,
like
somebody.
Jesus.
Okay.
And persecuted.
So this
He is
the
being
highest
persecuted.
the highest holy day for Christians is Easter Sunday, which is coming up, the Resurrection Sunday. And all of us need to rise up out of our grave clothes and put on the anointing of Jesus Christ.
Come on.
And decide that we're going to stand for what is righteous,
All right.
what is holy, what is good.
Say that, Reverend.
So this judge who is wearing an African skin.
Come
It
on.
needs to be adorned with an African heart.
Oh, oh no.
She needs to put on that anointing of Jesus Christ, particularly during this Holy Week. You don't play with that.
Yes.
You don't play with that, and she knows that Mumia should be let go. He should never have been put in jail, and he certainly should be let go. And she has the power to do it. She should do it.
Oh,
Right.
definitely.
She should do it.
So we
And-
still asking people to write the
Free
the
Mumia.
judge, right?
Well, the campaign is currently trying to decide if they're going to continue that encouraging,
writing? Okay.
right? Because we did have a letter writing campaign, you know, so we
She has
can't-
not responded to it.
Right. No. Oh no. They said it was over 1,000 letters sent to her. Okay. But this is the thing. Our brother Jeff Edison and another attorney asked him, "Well, what does this? Where does Mumia go from now? What is his remedies? Are there any?" And basically, they're saying that he can appeal to a higher court, but it would just go back to the judge.
To the same judge.
Yeah.
Lucretia Clement.
Yes, yes. So they're working on their strategy right now. But and thank you for that forgiveness and you know, teaching us about the days before Christ's resurrection, and you know, and we can apply what you just told us, Reverend Watson, to Mumia's case and to every part of our lives. So I appreciate, because we all need to adhere to that.
We do. And you know, one of the greatest teachers of this Holy Week was your former pastor, Father Norman Thomas, who I
yeah.
just adored.
Right, right, yes.
Before I was a pastor, I worked with him closely. When for many years, he was chair of the City of Detroit Human Rights Commission, back when it had power. That during the era of the Honorable Coleman Alexander Young and the Honorable Irma L. Anderson. He was appointed by both of them, so was I.
Okay.
But Father Thomas, he was the one who made sure that we asked the tough questions of the city.
Oh, wow.
Even though we love the city.
Okay.
He wanted to make sure that for every man who chaired a department, there was a woman who chaired a department.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the balance.
For every a white auditor who audited a city department, there was a black CPA firm that audited. He did all kinds of great things in his role as the Human Rights Commission chair.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a commission full of leaders, but he was the chair and led with humility and grace and sensitivity, always putting God first. Always putting God. So he was a great man.
Yeah. And
He
so
was a great, and he was not a self-promoter. Many people didn't even know he carried that important role because he didn't talk about himself. He put me in charge of Women's Equality Day. And
Right
we
person.
honored all the women and had a great time. I'd ask him to come and speak. No, I'm not a woman.
No.
I'm not a woman. but his role during that period, I'm going to have to write about it because, you know, if I don't,
right.
the story may not be told.
No,
Right.
because
No,
most people
rather
didn't
than
know that.
Irving
I
Henderson.
didn't know that. And I love, Father has been my pastor for 30-something years. I did not know that until you shared that story with me. But Father Thomas, like yourself, Reverend Watson, and I even posted this, y'all, on Facebook recently. I was paying tribute in the month of March to women of Detroit who, you know, were constant, and they continuously did the work. And I just want to say this about Father Thomas and Reverend Watson, is that they didn't just talk the talk. They walked the walk. And when I posted our Reverend Watson and some of our other beautiful sisters, Ineb House and Marion Kramer, I think, and Helen Moore. And when I posted this, I posted pictures of them marching, protesting. I said, no, Shoshana just don't say stuff just to be saying it. I
put
could
the
prove it
evidence.
to you. Here's the evidence. So thank you for that.
And
I
thank you.
appreciate
Your
that.
name got added. Your name
Yeah,
got added.
we got added on
I
there
had
too.
to, and you know I had to add Agnes Hitchcock.
That's right.
Because she ran an insurrection at the city county building, you know, about our $600 million, you know.
They know
illegal
when I wrote a
property
list of 20 plus things that need to be done to address reparations. The first thing on the list was pay people back their money.
Yes.
Okay.
If you overassessed, pay back.
Right.
That's
What are you
right.
talking about? You got some excess money.
Right.
You want to spend
Surplus.
$25 million to fix some sidewalks. What?
And give the people their money
What?
back.
$25 million to fix some sidewalk. Give
Right.
people their money back.
Help me, somebody.
Yep. Can I mention my half?
Yes.
I just want to tell everybody out there that's listening, the state of Michigan is giving out grant money, and don't think they just giving you something because they owe it to you anyway. But for all property owners, anybody who owns a home, you can apply at the state, you can apply through Wayne Metro for My Half grants. The My Half grants will do three things. One, they will pay property owners money for delinquent taxes, to pay off their delinquent taxes, to pay off overdue mortgage, to pay off overdue utilities. Delinquent taxes, mortgage, and utilities, that's My Half and Wayne Metro. I can get the number before we leave so we can give them. So the money's going to run out.
So get it early.
Yeah, and right now we do have Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri, who has temporarily halted most foreclosures, but April the 22nd they're going to be back on.
Oh, my.
So you
can't
got
never
to
just do
apply
it
for that
forever.
money.
Why is there a time limit on justice? The same way with Mumia. How you gonna give a time limit on justice? No, we want justice, and we want justice now.
Come on now.
And we want it permanent.
Right. I wanted to read, if I could, a
Please.
quote from Mumia. This is, Mumia has written over 13 books, many articles, and he has a prison radio show that he speaks on.
Prison radio.
Prison radio, thank you. And from people who are well learned on Mumia, they said Mumia, in all of his books, he doesn't talk about himself. You talk about humble, Reverend Watson. This man is so humble and so gentle. He's like a gentle warrior.
Yes.
But he did describe this in one of his quotes, and he's describing the condition of prison.
My Lord Jesus.
At the risk of quoting philosophers, I repeat, welcome to hell. A hell erected and maintained by human governments
My Lord Jesus.
and blessed by black-robed judges. A hell that allows you to see your loved ones but not to touch them. A hell situated in America's boondocks, hundreds of miles away from most families. A white, rural hell, where most of the captives are black and urban. It is an American way of death.
My Lord Jesus.
Mumia Abu-Jamal.
My.
And
Free Mumia.
one thing about all of this symbolism that we're speaking about today brings me back to what Dr. Yosef Ben Yakanai
My.
was talking about. When we coming back to ancient Kemet, is where all these ideas and moralism comes from. Our people are the people who gave the world civilization.
That's
All
right. It did not come
religions
from
came
Rome
out
or
of it.
Greece. They stole it.
Yes, ma'am.
Rome and Greece didn't, and much of what is considered the greatest holdings in the so-called Great Museum of England was stolen from Egypt.
Absolutely.
Egypt is Africa.
Yes, and that's and a good book to get for our audience would be A Stolen Legacy, and it talks about how the Greeks all stole that so-called Greek philosophy from Kemet. It's stolen philosophy from Kemet,
Okay.
and those Greeks like Socrates and what is the other guy name anyway?
Plato.
Yeah, Plato, and they all admitted to going to Africa to learn Greek philosophy. What they returned it Greek philosophy. They all Imhotep. He is the brother who built the step pyramid. He is the architect, the vizier. He was the the first multi-genius.
Okay.
He's the father of medicine. All of this comes from ancient Kemet.
That's right.
Teach.
All
But of course,
religions.
but of course, humankind came from the continent of Africa.
Yes, we were first.
The truth is, everybody in the universe is of African descent.
That's right.
Everybody who's a human being
Yes.
is of African descent. Some don't recognize it because they're not blessed with melanin.
Right.
That is visible. But human life began on the continent of Africa.
Absolutely. The oldest bones remains ever found on the planet Earth.
That's why they keep. That's why they keep doing archaeological digs, trying to find some bones older than African.
They don't want to
bones.
dig no more. The more they dig, the older it gets.
They gonna dig all the way like when we were little kids, and you dig in the ground, and you say you're going all the way to China down there. They go,
I remember that.
they gonna keep digging and digging. They
So
gonna dig.
it's going back to Africa. I believe that Mumia will be freed. I'm staying with it. It's a police authority that's keeping him in there. They want to keep us from knowing who we are and for knowing justice and fighting for justice. They're trying to break him, and they're not going to break him.
No, he's our brother, and he should be free. He should never have been locked up.
There's one fact that I wanted to read about his case. Quickly, Mumia is a victim of racism and police violence,
Yes.
targeted by the police and the FBI war on black people and freedom movements. He was captured at age 27 and will turn 69
My Lord
on
Jesus.
March 24th, 2023. Mumia was framed and wrongfully convicted for killing a cop by Philly's racist injustice system in 1982. The entire case is based on police prosecutorial and judicial violence, misconduct, and racism. Mumia's trial judge, now this is a fact, Mumia's trial judge, Albert Sable, was overheard at the start of Mumia's trial saying he was going to help the prosecutor fry the N-word. Mumia was sentenced to be executed.
My Lord Jesus. Free Mumia.
Free
Mumia.
Free
Free
Mumia.
Mumia.
Free
Free
Mumia
Mumia.
now.
We're so grateful to have had the great voice and vision of these two beautiful sisters, activists, warriors. We love them, and we know that God loves them more.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for being
having
about
us.
a wonderful part of Wake Up Detroit. We want to wake
up.
up
Wake
the world
up.
to free Mumia
Free
today.
Mumia.
That's
Free
right.
Mumia. Free Mumia. We give God all the praise. Only God is worthy to be praised. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Wake up, Detroit.
We, the people of Detroit, is dedicated to community coalition building and to the provision of resources that inform, train, and mobilize the citizens of Detroit and beyond to improve their quality of life. As a community-based grassroots organization, we, the people of Detroit, aim to inform, educate, and empower Detroit residents on imperative issues surrounding civil rights, land, water, education, and the democratic process. For more information, call 844-42-WATER, 844-42-WATER, or email wethepeopleofdetroit.com.